Hello and welcome to the Regional Transportation Commission's Transportation Cafe. This is a quarterly show focused on transportation issues right here in your community. I'm your host, Karena Pushnik, and for this episode we'll be talking about bicycling and walking in our community, and we've got two wonderful hosts with us today. Corey Coletti, who is a senior transportation planner, and she's also the bicycle transportation program manager. We also have Veronica Elzy, and she is the chair of the Pedestrian Safety Work Group, which is a subcommittee of the Elderly and Disabled Transportation Advisory Committee. Welcome. The Regional Transportation Commission has a goal of promoting a wide variety of transportation issues and programs in our community. And the reason why we do this is multifold, but bicycle and pedestrian programs are wonderful for our community for a number of reasons. Number one, we can get a lot more use out of our existing system. They're low-cost options. There's a lot of excess capacity out there on the bicycle network and the pedestrian network. Number two, they're a great way to help us meet our mandated greenhouse gas emission reduction goals. Number three, they're sustainable. Bicycling and walking are sustainable modes, and by sustainable I mean that there's a balance of the environment, economics, and equity, or the society, the community as a whole. And number four, they're active modes of transportation. It's a great way to get out there and get moving, better for health, lower obesity rates, and that's especially an issue here in our county. We have children are at risk, especially at risk. And they're lower cost alternatives. A lot of those facilities cost less and actually can bring in some economic dividends. And the city of Portland, they've been able to show that every dollar not spent driving is returned back into the local community. Not every dollar, but many of those dollars, and it results in better economic benefits for the community. So I've invited Corey and Veronica on the show today, and I want you first to just start off to tell us why you like bicycling and walking. Veronica.
Well, the main reason I like walking is it's just flat out fun. There are things that you can do when you're walking that there's no way you can do when you're sitting in your car. If you're going along and you see something that looks nice or somebody's flowers, you can just stop in the middle of the sidewalk and snoop and smell the flowers and smell the bakery and walk into a store that you don't know about. You meet people that you would never otherwise encounter, that you might just see from a distance, and you get to laugh and talk with them, and you can satisfy your curiosity, go over and snoop at your neighbor's construction project, and you have an excuse. Oh, I was just walking by, and you can just check things out. You get the exercise, the fresh air, and you actually do feel better. My brain doesn't function if I haven't been out there, but you're going at a slower pace, so you're really not getting so frustrated and so worn out, and you just do get to be a bigger part of your community because of the extra things that you can do on foot, and it's just fun.
That's a great reason. I like that, being a part of your community. Tell us about the reasons why you like to bike, Corey.
Well, Karena, I love human scale environments. I love walking and bicycling in order to get around. I think that because I was born and raised in Europe, I have a deep appreciation for the human scale environment, for the kind of community that you get to experience by bicycling or walking. Similarly to what Veronica said, you meet people, you see things, you run into your neighbors. I don't have those experiences when I'm driving in my car. Bicycling offers a wider travel range. So for me, I rely on bicycling as my primary mode of transportation. I bicycle to get around, to meet friends, to get to work, to run my errands. I also really enjoy a fit and active lifestyle and appreciate the health and well-being of a bicycle-friendly community. So bottom line is you get fit, you reduce air pollution, you reduce congestion, and you contribute to a healthy and active community. It's an all-around win.
Great. Tell us more about the components. Do you need special components to walk or bicycle, Corey?
Well, For bicycling, I mean, I think that bicycling and walking requires some similar elements. I think bicycling also requires its specific factors. But in terms of the similarities, a compact environment is really crucial for bicycling and walking. You're getting around by your own power. So you need to be able to access the restaurant, the library that you want to go within a reasonable time frame for the physical expenditure. Bicyclists and walkers, I think, really enjoy streets that have slower automobile vehicle traffic. It's a little disconcerting when you're bicycling or walking on a street with high-speed traffic. They also enjoy separation from that high-speed traffic. And of course, smooth surfaces. Potholes are no fun and not very safe. For bicycling in particular, sound equipment is essential. Having a well-functioning bike, a helmet, lights, a lock, bike bags if you're planning on carrying anything substantial. For bicycling, it's also really important to have a network of bicycle facilities. So bike lanes that connect you to where you want to go and also connect to each other. It's the second most important factor besides a sense of safety, is whether there's that connectivity between facilities. It's also really important to have a variety of facilities. Novice riders really enjoy paths that are separated from motor vehicle travel. Seniors, young children, more vulnerable users tend to prefer those kind of facilities. Utilitarian riders, recreational riders are comfortable sharing the roadways with motor vehicles, but it's important to have those options. And finally, safe and convenient bicycle parking. That's critical. When you get to your destination, you want to be able to park your bike, and you want to be able to park your bike within easy access to the entrance of the establishment. You don't want to have to park across a large parking lot in a corner someplace that isn't going to feel safe and isn't going to be convenient. The RTC has a program, actually, we call it a Bike Secure, and it basically subsidizes the purchase of bicycle lockers, and we provide bicycle racks to any business organization in the community that is interested in providing safe bicycle parking facilities. We've distributed over 2,000 bicycle racks and lockers during the length of this program, and it's something that's a really great benefit to our community.
I think the density issue is fascinating. What about you, Veronica? Are there special components that people out there walking need?
Well, the first thing to say about walking is one of the things that you don't need is worrying about parking spaces. Mm-hmm. Because you just go right in and come right out and come and go as you please. So that's kind of nice. So that's one less thing to worry about. As a pedestrian, you do need safe places to walk, and you need to know ahead of time so that you're not going to get stuck. If you use a wheelchair, a walker, if you have a stroller, you're really going to need to know something about, are there curb cuts? Am I going to get stuck? So it's really nice to know something about the condition of the sidewalks. And when you're not being a pedestrian, if you're a property owner, you need to help out pedestrians by maintaining your sidewalks and keeping them from coming up around the tree roots, and take a good look at them. But the main thing you need as a pedestrian is a little bit of a change in behavior. We're really fortunate here to have nice climate. We don't have to worry about ice and snow. So because you are a pedestrian anywhere, you're a pedestrian if you're just going from the store through the parking lot to your car. But what you do need to do is to pay attention to your surroundings and get used to looking at the cars. If you can, make eye contact with them. Hi, I'm here. Be noticed. Be careful, especially if you're at night. You may want to purchase a cheap, thin little reflective vest or something just to make sure that people can see you, because everybody else driving stuff is bigger than you. And I think it's really important to keep your head up, know who's around you so that you don't become a target, know where you feel safe, and make sure that you have some idea where you're going so you're not totally lost in an area where you can't ask for help because you are kind of by yourself. And that way you'll be able to take advantage of being able to look around and see what you do. But mostly you just need that knowledge and the behavior. Know where your crosswalks are. Look before you step off. Just a little bit of change of behavior from what you do driving, because you're not as well protected.
And you have an extra special helper,
I
Ty.
do.
We didn't introduce Ty at the beginning of the show, but Ty, Veronica's guide dog, is here with us today. Nationally, I've read that about half of the trips that people take are 3 miles or less, and the majority of work trips are under a half an hour. Those distances and lengths of time are ideal for our community. How far could you get, Veronica, in a half an hour?
I would say that an average for a half an hour is probably about 1.5 miles. You get a little distance if you miss lights and have to wait for lights, or if you slow down because there's cool scenery to look at or something like that. But on average, about 1.5 miles.
Great. How about you, Corey? How far can you get in a half an hour?
Well, in Santa Cruz, we have some topography that can be challenging. But on flat surface at a moderate pace, I would say about 5 to 6 miles. The National Household Travel Survey also indicates that about 1/4 of all trips that people take are 1 mile or less. By bike, that's 5 minutes.
Right. That's a great distance. Tell us more about the facilities that are available here locally.
Well, we have 215 designated bicycle lanes and paths in our community. And to make a distinction between those two, paths are entirely separated from motor vehicle traffic, and bicycle lanes are a space that's designated on the roadway for bicyclists, but it's to the right edge of the motor vehicle travel lane. There's usually a bicycle stencil and a white line delineating that space, and also signs. There are countless alternate routes that people can take, and neighborhood streets are, of course, wonderful to ride on.
And we have a bike map, don't we, that shows some of those?
Yes, actually, the RTC produces this Santa Cruz County Bikeways map, and we distribute it free of charge to the community. Members of the community can pick it up at libraries, bike shops. It's our most widely requested publication and a widely utilized tool.
It's a great tool. Veronica, what about facilities available for walking?
Well, Santa Cruz County doesn't have a pedestrian map that's kind of like the bicycle map, but
yeah,
you're getting there. But Google is getting much better, and this works actually both for pedestrians and bicyclists. And now, very often, if you want to go to an area, you can kind of look around and survey it, and you can actually tell in many cases that there are sidewalks or there aren't, so you know where to change sides of the streets if that's something that you really need, whether you have enough room. So you can learn a lot from Google. You can also pretty much assume in this county that if you're downtown Santa Cruz, Capitola, you know, any of those places, that it's going to be pretty walkable. We are so much more walkable here than most of the country, so you're pretty safe heading out and taking your chances. And you can always call and ask, and you know, the bus people will tell you, the RTC people will tell you, and your friends will tell you.
Well, you bring up an interesting issue. I guess you can use a combination of biking and walking, or walking in the bus, or you know, walk to your carpool partner or something like that. Isn't that true, that you can use combinations of things, Veronica?
Oh, you sure can, and most of our bus stops really aren't very far from any of the neighborhoods, so it's really fun to investigate where it is. And if you're in a carpool, you can have somebody driving down the main street and just let you off at the edge of your neighborhood and walk in part way. So really the bus walking combination, you can use your feet or your wheelchair in all kinds of interesting places around this county, and it's really kind of nice.
And we're fortunate to have a bus system that has 3 bike racks on the front of every bus, so you can bike to the bus and go even farther. One of the Regional Transportation Commission's goals is to bring funding into our community, both state and federal funding. We compete with all different areas for those funds for our region. And one of the recent concepts is called Complete Streets. And it's really not such a new concept, but it's kind of new for the funding arena, where you look at the whole street, all the improvements within a street, whether they be for cars or transit or bicycles or pedestrians, and you look at the whole package. And so that's one of the things that the Regional Transportation Commission is pursuing, funding for the complete streets. But there are a number of other bicycle programs and projects, as well as pedestrian, that the Regional Transportation Commission has been able to secure funding for. Veronica, do you want to tell us about a couple of those?
Sure. Well, I'll mention just a couple that our pedestrian safety work group is involved with. And one of them, as Corinna just mentioned, we started looking at, can people get to the bus stops from the places that they live? And can people get from the bus stop to the senior centers, to the places that people go? And we actually managed to secure a grant to upgrade the facilities between the bus stops and activity centers and the bus stops and residential centers. And we've got quite a project going looking at those. We also actually use some of the grants to fund the existence of our committees, and these are committees that any of you out there, if you're interested, can join someday.
Great.
The RTC also funds the Bicycle and Pedestrian Hazard Report, and this is something where if you see anything that you feel needs to be reported, whether it's cracked sidewalks, whether it's signs or poles blocking sidewalks, same thing with the bicycle issues. If there's an unsafe riding area, unsafe walking, you can fill out these forms. They'll see to it that it gets to the right people. So you don't have to know, is this SoCal, is this Capitola? You just fill out this countywide form and it gets to where it goes. And it's beneficial for everybody. It helps you, it helps every other person. So those are just a couple of the programs that...
Great. And those hazard forms are available on the RTC website. Corey, tell us about some of the facilities that the RTC has been able to secure for our community.
There are a number of projects that the RTC has provided funding for. Bay Avenue sidewalk improvements in Capitola, the San Lorenzo River Bridge, bicycle and pedestrian bridge, the Struve Slough Bridge in Watsonville. Those are just a few, but it's really important to note, like you were addressing in the complete streets concept, is that all local road rehabilitation projects have the potential of benefiting all users. Often when there's an overlay project, a bicycle lane is added, or a curb cut is added, or the shoulder is widened so as to provide for safe bicycle travel. There are a number of programs that the RTC also implements directly. We have a county-wide bike route signage program, which we're going to be launching pretty soon here, and that will sign preferred routes for bicyclists and pedestrians to take. Additionally, we have one of our star projects is the Monterey Bay Sanctuary Scenic Trail Network, and that's a wonderful project, and it's envisioned to be a multi-use shared trail. It will also use on-street facilities to connect to coastal access, really take advantage of the opportunities afforded by the National Marine Sanctuary. And in addition to the on-street facilities, we're also going to be looking at utilizing the rail right-of-way so that there might be a path adjacent to the rail line. The RTC also funds a number of programs that promote bicycling and walking, like the Bike to Work, Bike to School program, the Community Traffic Safety Coalition, which is a coalition of law enforcement agencies, local jurisdictions that work together to improve the condition of bicyclists and pedestrians, and also provide safety training. And finally, the RTC has its very own program to address those, Commute Solutions. And Commute Solutions works on promoting alternative transportation and is basically generally dedicated to providing a full complement of transportation options.
Great. Well, there are a number of ways that people can plug in. They can either join the Regional Transportation Commission's Bicycle Committee, or the Elderly and Disabled Transportation Advisory Committee, or their Pedestrian Safety Work Group. And so just in summary, Active transportation choices like bicycling and walking are good for the environment, they're good for the economy, they're good for your health, and they cost less. So we encourage all of you to give them a try, get out there and ride your bike and walk. I want to thank you for joining us here at the Regional Transportation Commission's Transportation Cafe. I also want to thank our guests, Corey Coletti and Veronica Elsey and Ty. And I want to encourage you to come back and join us. You can find out more information by calling us at 831-460-3200 or logging on to our website. Please join us for the next episode of the RTC's Transportation Cafe.
Hi, I'm Corey Coletti. I'm a Senior Transportation Planner and Bicycle Program Manager at the Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission. We're often referred to as the RTC. I'm here to present you our brand new Santa Cruz bicycle map. It's a bikeway map that we provide free of charge to the community in order to promote active, non-motorized transportation. We've been producing this map for about 20 years now. It looked a lot different when we first started producing it. And this is our most comprehensive map to date. It includes topography, multi-use trails, and the entire Santa Cruz County bicycle network. Besides a perceived sense of safety, the next most important thing to whether people ride their bicycles is whether there's a network of facilities, bicycle lanes and paths that connect to each other and connect to where people want to go. So being able to get to your destination, restaurant, library, and know that there aren't going to be gaps in that network is really important. So this map identifies where all the paths are, where all the lanes are, where the alternate routes are. And to help distinguish between those, paths are separated facilities. They're separated from motor vehicle travel traffic lanes. Bicycle lanes are shared with motor vehicles, and they are basically delineated specifically for bicycle use through a white striped line that differentiates the space between motorists and bicyclists. It usually has a bicycle stencil and sometimes bicycle signs. Alternate signs are sometimes signed, sometimes not, but there basically is no dedicated facility for bicyclists. So, sharing the road with motorists becomes especially important in those instances. The bike map is available at bike shops, at the library, through our office. We're located in downtown Santa Cruz. It can be ordered through our website, sccrtc.org. And it is our most requested publication and a widely utilized resource. Besides providing the visual information about the bicycle network at a glance, we also have information here about the bicycle resources that are available in our county. The shops, transit centers, camping locations, state parks, connections to other counties. This time we've also included information about where the off-road multi-use trails are, in case you want to make connections off the beaten path. Sharing the road information is provided. Ways to report hazards like potholes is provided. Safety guidelines, basic laws, and law enforcement information should there be a need. It's a foldable map, great visual aid, and you don't need internet access if you're on the go. We live in a wonderful place to ride, so pick up your bike map and get out there and ride. We're here to help you get around by bike.
On our last Transportation Cafe program, we talked about an exciting new RTC initiative to plan, design, and build our transportation projects to be as sustainable as possible. Since that program, which was recorded in September, much has happened. During that program, we talked to Peter Hurley from Portland, Oregon, about the Sustainable Transportation Access Rating System, or known as STARS. Peter's working with a nonprofit group in Portland known as the North American Sustainable Transportation Council and with the RTC to develop this tool, which is being modeled after the lead system for sustainable building design. STARS is the first system to be developed for transportation projects, which takes a look at how the project will perform over its entire life cycle. Now, the goals of STARS are to improve access for all people, to reduce climate pollution and energy consumption, and to improve benefit over cost. So we're happy to say that our first phase of work on STARS is now completed. On December 2nd, I presented the STARS Project Application Manual to the Regional Transportation Commission. This manual includes 12 credits that were selected by the RTC out of a total of possible 29 that are envisioned for the fully developed STARS system. The credits encompass 4 areas of concern. These are integrated process, access, climate and energy, and cost-effectiveness analysis. Now, this manual represents many, many hours of hard work by our dedicated Technical Advisory Committee, which is a team of local folks who volunteered for this work, plus a team up in Portland of about a dozen transportation professionals and several members of the RTC staff. We held 5 extensive meetings over the past year to receive critiques and feedback on this work. You can download your copy of the manual on the RTC website. Just go to the home page and look under News and Updates. You'll note that it's entitled version 1.0 because this is a work in progress and we expect it will be improved over time as experience dictates. So we're now preparing for the next phase of this work, which involves looking at each of the 12 credits to determine which could be applied to the Highway 1 HOV lane project. Since the STARS system is not yet fully developed, this will be a pilot certification under the program. It's a way of getting started to use STARS without waiting for the full program to come online, which we will expect to happen sometime in the next year or two. So the next steps include the RTC accepting this manual at their January 13th meeting, and hopefully they will give their approval to move on to the phase 2 of the work to pursue the pilot certification of the Highway 1 HOV lanes project. As more work proceeds, we'll report back to you on this program. But meanwhile, if you wish to receive email updates on this exciting project, you can send us email at info@sccrtc.org or call us anytime. Thank you.